Welcome back to another episode of the Live Your Yes Life podcast. Each week, we share channeled thoughts, discussions, and interviews on what it takes to go from dreaming and wishing to actively living your yes life. My name is Lisa Limata. I will be your host for today, and this is going to be a solo episode. So I want to just share something that I've noticed has been a bit of a theme coming up amongst some of my clients, some conversations that I've been having and even experiencing a bit of this myself. And we're going to talk about releasing the need for validation. And here's the thing, right? We can all relate to this because one of our basic human needs is love, safety, belonging. We need that, right? In order to feel safe as a human on this journey. And so it makes sense that there are times when we just really feel this need for outside validation. But there is also a time where we take this need for validation as an affirmation of our enoughness, right? Of our worth. And that is where it can really hold us back from doing the work we're meant to do in the world, from serving in the way we're meant to serve, or from leading in the way that we are most meant to lead. So when we're seeking validation, we're really looking for someone outside of ourselves to tell us that we're good enough, that our message has been received, that our work is effective, that our beliefs are accepted. And so there are so many different ways that this can show up, really in any area of our life. Maybe it's in your career. Maybe you are stepping into leadership, or you want to do something that has never been done before now. And so you're bringing something new forward and wanting this validation that you're on the right track. Maybe it's within your family or important relationships in your life, right? Where maybe in this case, it's you want to know that your belief systems will be accepted. Maybe let's just say, for example, you have spiritual beliefs that may be different than your family of origin. And you may be afraid to actually speak your truth or to share what you believe for fear of rejection. That's something that I hear come up quite a bit. This fear that, if you really speak your truth, it could result in a loss of relationship of someone close to you. Or I think the rejection wound for a lot of people can get triggered when it comes to really leading or sharing our truth in this way. And really often when this comes up for us, it's because we are going against the grain. As leaders, our job is to bring new ideas forward. And maybe you are a creative. You are creating something, whether that is a piece of artwork or it is a new program to help the people that you serve forward. And it's something brand new, when sometimes these original ideas take a bit to be accepted. When you're the first person talking about something or bringing something forward in a unique way, there will always be people who resonate, and then there will be people who don't get it, right? And so this can show up for us quite often when we have a message on our heart that's different than status quo. So maybe you can relate to this. Maybe there's something for you, it's a truth, it's a way that you're meant to serve, and you've been holding yourself back because you have been fearing that you could be rejected. Or maybe you've been starting to take steps forward and you're not receiving, you're not yet receiving someone giving you validation or saying, hey, thanks, that really helped me. Or maybe you're just kind of getting silence as you're starting to talk about this new idea, or you're starting to share your truth on something. And I want to talk about silence for a minute, right? Because silence does not mean that you're being rejected. It doesn't mean that someone hates your idea. It doesn't necessarily mean anything at all when you're receiving sort of crickets, or where however this might be showing you. Maybe it's even like in your closest relationships, no one's kind of saying anything. And what we often do as humans is we put a story behind that, right? We start assigning our own meaning to why we're not receiving whatever kind of feedback we want to receive. And usually the stories we make up, if we're really kind of tapped into our fears, are, we make it mean that, okay, this isn't, no one's getting this, or you're not being validated in some way. And the truth is, we don't know why you're not receiving it yet. Maybe your message hasn't landed yet. Maybe you need to really start to step out and be more vocal and be more visible. Because the truth is, whatever that original idea, original message, against the grain, idea that you have, or viewpoint that you have, whatever that is, it was given to you. Your job is to share it. And maybe you're the one, maybe you're the person to bring this idea forward. And if it's not you, then what? Right? If you don't actually take action on this, it means the world, your family, your clients, however this is showing up for you, doesn't get the benefit of what came through you to be brought forward. And so it's really important that we know how to handle it when this need for validation arises so strongly that it actually stops us in our tracks, because that means you don't get to share the gift that is you with the world. And so a lot of times this can show up for us when we are not tuning in to our own hearts, right? We can get so busy, we're looking outside of ourselves to try to find the answer. And I think that really the first step is to just come back home to your heart, your connection to God's source, whatever that means for you, and to really spend some time grounding in, so that you're not just sort of chasing your ego or looking outside of yourself to get those answers. And that's the place I always like to start, is just like, can I get still for a few minutes? Maybe it's myself and my journal. And we need to get clear, because the other problem with seeking validation is that then we start to sort of distort our own message sometimes. I think feedback is really useful and it's really helpful, and we need to know how to use feedback effectively. That could probably be a whole nother podcast episode. But when it comes to being a leader, when it comes to being the one to bring this original idea or belief forward, or to just speak your truth, it has to be your truth. Otherwise, it gets watered down. It becomes something that's meant just to please people and doesn't have the potency that it has when it's just your original message. So the invitation is to come back home to yourself, to really get clear on what you feel called to bring forward and why. If it's your message, if it's your truth, if it's something you need to get out into the world, why was this given to you? Why is this on your heart? And what would the world be missing if you don't step forward with this at this time? Those are some really powerful questions to sit with and to answer. And I'm going to invite you to actually journal on this. If you've sort of been in a space of, really feeling frozen because you haven't yet received that validation you're looking for, I'm going to leave you with some journal prompts. I'll actually put them in the show notes here so that you can go through with your journal and just sit with these questions and kind of coach yourself through it and see what is revealed for you. I think you're going to find this exercise really powerful. I'd love to hear in the comments if this landed for you, and if this helped you unlock that need for validation so you can step forward in a big way. I would love to hear that as well. Right now, over in the circle, we are about to launch the Yes Method for our clients. You may have heard me talking about it. And this is exactly part of the work that we're doing, because the Yes Method is all about getting what you want by being who you are. It's about finding that alignment, finding that truth, speaking your truth, and having the courage to share it. And so This centers around really focusing in on knowing yourself, knowing your identity, getting really clear. If this resonates for you and you want to go deeper on this work, I did a full podcast on the Yes Method a couple of weeks back. You can go and listen to that to get all of the details. We are beginning August 5th. The only way that we are offering up access to the Yes Method right now is inside of the Circle. The Circle is our year-long coaching program. If you want more details on that, I will link that in the show notes as well. And if this was meaningful for you, please consider sharing this episode with someone who needs to hear it. And of course, subscribe so you never miss an episode. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you next time.